Yo, yo, yo. And a bottle of rum. I carried that note extra long for y'all. I missed y'all so much. What's up, people? It's your boy MM2K. Back again with another Stadia live session featuring MM2K. I appreciate all of y'all, man, for coming through. Do us a huge favor, because the world may not know that we're back, but we're back on the attack. Let me do something. Where's Discord at? I know how I got to do. I got to let everybody know. Tweet this out. Let everybody know. We had a very, very good sound off. Very new show for our members. If you're not a member and you're like, oh man, I missed out on that, hit that join button below. We talked about a lot of things to where I'm going to get your input on here on SLS featuring MM2K, but I'm not going to go over the specifics because there was a lot being discussed and it was so much that I didn't get to cover everything. Some of that stuff I'm going to have to cover over here. You know what I mean? But we talked a lot about Amazon. I went over Amazon a lot. I read the press release. There was a press release for Amazon, and a lot of the stuff that they did today that they announced that I read over, got a hold of it, and I read it over on Sound Off. And we went over in quite detail all the stuff that's being offered, all the stuff that may likely not be coming, or some of the surprise stealth stuff. If you want to hear that discussion on that, you got to go to Sound Off, okay? But let me do this real quick. I want to drop this out. No, that's not. Got it. Okay. I want to drop this off in the different segments. You know how we do. But while I'm doing this, I want to thank everybody for showing their love and their support of the platform, of me being so gracious and patient, because I know a lot of people, you know, want to see MM2K content. I get it. And how we had to wait on that because, you know, I was trying to help my wife rebound and get back in the swing of things. And now we're home. She's going to be going through some rehab still, but yet we're able to still create a schedule for you guys because that's what you deserve. So I want to thank everybody. Also, do us a huge favor. Click on those buttons, please. Share it out. Let everybody know that we're live. What happened to my... Hold on. Okay. You got to excuse me. We're having technical difficulties because this is brand new for me. I'm trying something new. This is the first time that I've done back-to-back shows where we've done member content. And then directly after the member content, we did live. We're doing something live for the public. All right. So now... here's what I want to do. We're going to get into, excuse me. We got to fix this. Man, those discussions were so deep. I could have went a whole nother hour there before I even came here. But that's all right. We're just going to cover it here a little bit. But I won't be going in my rants like I normally do because, again, we're going to turn this over to you guys. But this is SLS featuring MM2K. I am your host, MM2K of PNTS Network and StadiaDosage platform, and we hope that you will enjoy today's open mic. We're going to be talking about a lot of things. Well, you are going to be talking about a lot of things, and I'll be answering questions. We're going to be talking about Luna, and Luna dropped a bunch of things today, and we're going to get into that and how it affects Stadia. We also got some dev support from curious devs and devs that are already on the platform. We're going to talk about that, or you're going to talk about that. I was able to finish off Sound Off on my whole whoop-to-do of the Steam Deck. I'm going to go over that with y'all. It's going to be controversial. You can hear my whole controversial takeover at Sound Off as usual, you know, as I've been saying. But I'm just going to give you a quick snippet of it, and I'm going to let you guys tell me what you think about that. Then I'm going to talk about QLOC, which we kind of featured here on the graphic. And then we're going to talk about new indie games. All right. But first and foremost, for those of you that don't have access to Sound Off at the moment, shame on you. You need to go access it. Hit that damn join button. Go join right now. All right. Because I feel like we put out great content. Like a lot of people were like, oh well, no, I'm not going to mention our paid for content because it sounds like that we're being greedy. No, the overwhelming majority of our content is free to the public, but we put out some great member content, and we do that because we want to add value to those that want to support. Like there's people that supported us regardless if we put out extra content or not. While I've been in and out, and I've been the sole contributor of the member content until the homie Squid came on board and he started putting stuff out there. Shout out to Squid, just caring about the community. And speaking of Squid, he's going to be going live at 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So that's like 2.5 hours from now, or 2 hours and 15 minutes from now. You definitely don't want to miss Chill Times with Squid. It's coming on later today at a special time. All right. But we're going to be going enough time because we're only going to do an hour and 15 here, and then I'm rolling. And to give you guys time to go, go to the urinals, go make yourself a bologna sandwich, whatever the hell you do to get ready for Squid. Chill Times with Squid. You know what I'm saying? Eat some wrap snacks. I don't know what y'all do. But whatever you do, you don't want to miss that show. It's a hell of a show. But I have a lot of stuff that I didn't cover in Sound Off, and I definitely want to go over it here. But again, like I was just saying, I want to talk to you guys and gals about the content that's coming over here, right? So in order for us to do that, let's do this. I'm getting better at this. I swear I am getting better at this. All right. Let's do this. First and foremost. Well, now I got to do this because I gotta be able to see the chat. I can't even see y'all right now. So hold on. I'm gonna shout you out. I'm gonna shout you out in a little bit. Okay, where's my chat thing? There we go. Here we go, connect. There we go. Now I can see y'all. Golly. I want to do one more thing. We're going to say that the prologue started. We're going to say the prologue started at 10 minutes. Because I'm trying to keep, I'm trying to keep a tag for all this stuff so this content isn't so hard to follow. Because some people are like, you know what, MM2K, I'm really not into that. Per se. I'm not really into to what happened there, but I do appreciate hearing about this, that, and the other. So let's do this. Bear with me. Okay, so the prologue started at 10 minutes. Did it really? At 10 minutes? Yeah. Damn, I'm not utilizing my time here at the best way possible, man. All right. So we're going to shout out everybody that we see in the chat so far. Shout out to Kinja in the chat, says I'm awake. We got Collins Dynasty in the house, says, okay, reloaded. What else we got in here? We got Dusty Aran, who was active in, see, I got to be like the postmaster, Dusty Aran. He was not only active in Sound Off, but now he's active here. And we got Blue Fire Demon. 44 says, yo guys, what's going on? Let's send out one more tweet as we get ready. Purchase. Oh, golly. Come on, keyboard. Stop acting up. Lock purchased. Switched it. Can't switch it. I can switch it here. Twitter, man. Twitter. Join us live now. Okay. So here's what I want to say, and then we're going to get right into the show. We ain't got a lot of time. I want to thank you all again for your patience while my wife was out sick. As I explained on Sound Off, she ran into complications last year, June around last year. those complications kind of heightened a little bit. We thought we were on a good track. She had to be admitted. Took us time to get it back to where it was before she was admitted. She still got to go through rehab and stuff. It's going to be a little bit extensive for a month, and then it's going to go back to what it was regularly, and hopefully she'll be 100%, by the summer. And we want to thank you all so much, because since she got sick in June, the content from my behalf has not been regular and hasn't been consistent, and you guys have been patient on that. And that's why it was important for us to bring in more members. We're still bringing in more people. We got Squid, we got the homie Jack Deslip doing stuff, and he's killing it. Not only on the channel, but on pntsnetwork.com. Go check out those articles, man. And what I would also say is that we got more content coming. I mean, you're not going to believe the stuff that we got coming. So stay tuned for that. I want to thank you all so much for your patience there. Again, new show, Sound Off. It's where I go, and normally what I would do here is I would talk for an hour and a half, go talk to y'all for 10 minutes, talk another hour and a half, and this is end up 5-hour podcast. And doing chapters isn't good enough. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to babble for my time period before we get to the live session. So this is a true, unfiltered open mic for you. It's all about you. So we're going to spare you. I'm going to answer questions. If you ask me about something, I'm going to answer it. You know what I mean? So you can still get as much information from me as you can. But me just going on and on and on and on, my little sermons, those happen in Sound Off. So that means SLS featuring MM2K is back to the public full time. It's no longer the VODs going there, because the concern was when I would quote unquote sound off, people would get, their feelings hurt and all this other stuff. And look, what I don't do is I don't say, oh, hold on, I'm about to say this. Who disagrees with me? Who might, take my take on it a certain way? I don't do that. I just sound off. I don't know who says what most of the time. You know what I mean? So, and regardless of who says what, that's not going to deter me putting out what I feel is the likelihood or the outcome that are coming from certain things. And I don't take offense to when, you know what I mean? Like, for instance, I'll give you guys a prime example. I'm big on 4K 60. 4K or 60 frames per second modes on Stadia. I would prefer it to be a 1440p 60 mode native or an upscale 4K 60 mode together, from 1440p. That's my take. And as we were starting to see games towards the end of the year last year max out at 30, I had something to say. Now, there's a lot of you, even on the content creation side, that didn't agree with that. It was like, it's not a big deal. But y'all weren't necessarily disagreeing with me. You were just disagreeing with the sentiment. I didn't take any offense to that. You know what I mean? That crew of thought, that school of thought rather, broke down what they thought about the matter, and the school of thought over here, we broke down what we thought about the matter, and we moved on. And we met right back at the center over the things we do agree with. But too often, and I guess it's because it's people new to this process or new to social media when it comes to gaming, maybe before they did the gaming thing, their social media interaction was full of people that agreed with them, so they didn't know how to take different thought processes or whatever. But you see a lot of times to where that's leading to a lot of silly stuff and a lot of back and forth and people at each other's necks on social media. So we feel it's best if there's specific content of mine, because I'm not going to quit saying what needs to be said. But only so many people have an appetite for it. And that's something I had to learn, because I come from the crumb side. And even when I was on the crumb side, there were rare instances to where people tried to get down low and dirty, and I had to show them, look, you're not gonna outfox the fox. You know what I mean? So pop, I had to slap them away. You know what I mean? But it's not something that I wanted to do regularly. I just want to talk about news, inform people, get informed, all that other stuff. So as I came over here, having differences of opinion and talking about them, together on different formats or whatever, was nothing that was foreign to me. Something that's taken a little bit differently here. We know there's those of you that appreciate it, so we're not going to stop. But we just feel like that maybe there's a better venue, a more responsible set of listeners can take this stuff. So that's why we created Sound Off, and we're going to leave SLS featured MM2K as it is. Also, SDO dailies are coming back. Okay, you're going to get about 2+ of those a week. SSC is back, but we moved to a new time. It's on Thursdays now, and I can't remember. Stay tuned, because I got to talk to the panel, because we're doing it on everybody's work schedule. It's either 4 p.m. or 5 p.m. Eastern, but we've had to move to Thursdays because of new schedules. What's going on with SSC Podcast is the homie Joe Smock, because of his work schedule, he's not available until Fridays, and that's not going to work for the rest of the panel. So don't fret. I know people crying, they're losing their ish. I know, because Joe Smock was a rising star on his podcast scene. He was killing it. However, I ain't letting my brother go to the wayside. So starting this week, Daryl Smock and I will now be hosting Saturday Checkup. That is a show that we it's a special treat for our members, but it eventually becomes available for everybody. We record it every Friday, and we're going to be recording it Fridays at 11 a.m. for our members. So if you're a member and you're listening, that's when you want to listen, to get the live taping of it so you can participate. We can read your comments, all that other stuff, even let you call in. There's some other ways that we're going to let you participate, like where you could call in or get into the Discord. Stay tuned for that. So we recorded Fridays at 11 a.m. and then it goes premiere live for everybody Saturdays at 11 a.m. So 24 hours later, it goes live for everybody on Saturdays. Joel Smock will be hosting that show with me on StadiaDosage. All right. And there's more shows to come. We got a lot more content. So as I'm working with my wife doing a rehab, if something happens, I can't do an SSC or whatever. SSC, we're working on getting SSC to still be active. We're getting on, you know what I'm saying? So we're working on more participation. There's gonna be a lot of great stuff happening on this platform. You don't want to miss it. But while we're fleshing out, I want to thank you so much for your participation, for your patience. My first looks are coming back, definitely. And then you have the replacement of the SLS featured MM2K content with Sound Off. Okay. All right. So with that said, let's get it calculating. Back to the chat. Who we got here? We got Ray, the human cyborg, in the house. What's up, Ray? With the sneaky eyes. Who else we got? We got Average. He says hi. We got Twisted Barber in the house. What up? What up, MM2K? And we got Kessel Runner. What's up, y'all? All right, great stuff. All right. So let's get started. You're going to see a lot of these subject matters out of whack a little bit, because they're based off of what I set up on Sound Off. But I want to start off with the 2 subject matters that I didn't get a chance to finish on Sound Off. So this was actually going to be topic number 4. We got 3 topics done on Sound Off, but this was topic number 4. Topic number 4 was QLOC. All right. What am I talking about with QLOC? Well, I haven't heard a lot of people talk about this. It came across our radar, I think, last Thursday or Friday. And I didn't talk about it then because I didn't have time to embellish on it, because I didn't want it to be an opportunity for the naysayers or the conspiracy theorists out there to make this seem like it was something worse than what it is. Shout out to the homie KBJ in the house. In the house. All right. But you know how we do. Let me show you something. Okay, maybe not. All right, let's do this. Let's get out of here. because it's not letting my soundboard ain't working. Come on. Come on. Oh, it looks like it ain't gonna work. All right. That's weird. How did I lose the connection? Maybe I don't like. Oh crap. Okay. Give me 1 second, y'all. I'm sorry. Let's do this again. No, it's not going to work. Soundboard is definitely not working. Try one more time. Okay, now it's reloading. Okay, now it should work. That's odd because I didn't change. Here, let me see. Did it? Advanced hotkeys, remote control. That's weird, Joe. Show details. Huh? It's the same. It ain't working. All right. We'll have to do this manually. No more quick snappity dappities. Okay. Here goes the article in question. Shout out to Jeremy Moan in the house. All right, so Tencent buys 1C Entertainment and QLOC, the studio responsible for Cyberpunk 2077. And I got to keep that. See, I almost skipped into that without keeping the proper notes. See this. We're going to say that started what? Say that started at 24 minutes. In the house. All right, QLOC. Ooh. The story reads as follows. Come on, crap. I don't want to read the next story, Bob. It says, Tencent, Chinese gaming entertainment giant, continues to shop in the West. A few days after the news of the acquisition of Inflection Games, Arthur Nightingale, the Chinese giant, also welcomes the Polish company 1C Entertainment to its staple, not to be confused with IC, now former Russian parent company. I want to get to the part where it talks. Okay, so it says, but by buying 1C Entertainment, Tencent also secured the services of its subsidiary QLOC, a Polish studio that in recent years has distinguished itself for the excellent quality of its ports. Among the most recent work, we point out Dark Souls Remastered, Tales of Vesperia, Definitive Edition, Ni no Kuni, The Threat of the White Witch Remastered, the conversion of Yakuza Kiwami 2 for PC, the port of Nintendo Switch of Hellblade, Senua's Sacrifice, and also the good version by Cyberpunk 2077 for Google Stadia. Before saying goodbye, we remind you that at the end of the year, last year, Tencent also bought Turtle Rock, Back 4 Blood, and Left 4 Dead Studio. Jesus! Tencent is on a buying spree. So when I saw this last Thursday, it was the 25th, that may have been Friday, that this story came out. And I did go over the news a little bit this weekend. I thought this was a missed opportunity. Even though it's not doom and gloom. I don't think it's doom and gloom. I do think this is a missed opportunity, though. Okay. They could have been used, QLOC, because they do a hell of a job. They're known for it. Could have been used to fine-tune games that are coming to Stadia. Like, for instance, they're the cleanup man. You can see I'm in the singing mood today. I'm happy to be back. They could have been the cleanup men. What does that mean? This is Ubisoft, Stadia, look, we know this is going to be embarrassing in some regards, but fast-paced game like Riders Republic, we're capping it at 30 frames per second, and we can't do nothing else about it because of, our deadlines are deadlines. Best of luck to your child. Click. QLOC could change scenarios like that to, hey, look, this is Ubisoft, and before an embarrassment comes to the people that we're partnering with, we need to clean up, man. We need QLOC here ASAP. We're going to turn over what we've created, which is a 30 frames per second port of the game, and hopefully QLOC can finish the rest. You know what I'm saying? In enough time before release. Okay, they can fine tune it or whatever, but we've got it at least. We got the 4K portion working out. Maybe QLOC can do some more porting, you know what I mean, and get it to whatever. Or just give the port to QLOC altogether, whatever. Why am I talking about them like this? Because what I'm saying in so many words is it's a missed opportunity for Google to pick up the pieces of these teams that long term can not only help out Stadia, but can help out Google altogether. Now, granted, QLOC is only going to be out the gate beneficial to Stadia, right? And remember, Stadia just let go a whole bunch of developers. We've talked about this numerous times. We talk about it ad nauseum. They've let go so many developers, it might not be feasible by law that they can go and pick up more developers right now. It might not be possible because when you let go people in the United States, I don't know how it works globally in other countries, but when you let go people in the United States, those people can apply for unemployment benefits. They can apply for the unemployment insurance that is associated to their job. And depending upon the state, that time frame that they get compensated for can be 6 months, 9 months, 12 months, 14 months, 16 months, whatever the case may be, depending upon if there was a merger involved with the layout, whatever the case is. So Stadia is bound to X amount of time that they can hire another developer for any purpose. Well, I don't want to say for any purpose, but another developer, because what will happen is two things. They'll get in trouble with that state because the state has said, hold on, you let go of these people. Why did you let go of them if you're just going to hire somebody else while we're paying these people that you let go? You could have kept them on, gave them something else to do until, you figured out what you're going to do with developing. Now we done give away a whole bunch of money when that wasn't necessary because you didn't feel like paying these people. So that's number one. Number two, the people that got laid off have a lawsuit in their hands. You laid me off, but you hired somebody else to take over the functions that I was already doing. Lawsuit time. So depending on the state, depends upon how Stadia can move, and that could be something. Well, no, it can be. It can be something. It was something they were cognizant of, and maybe they didn't expect this buying frenzy to start as fast as it was and as soon as it was. That kind of is affecting them. Like Microsoft proposing to buy Call of Duty is a big blow to all cloud gaming platforms. Why? Because all of them, well, Microsoft got them in most part. All of them wanted that Call of Duty on there. All of them. Now, if this deal goes through, none of them is going to get it, except for Xbox. So now you got people buying stuff left and right. And PlayStation, they're smart. They went and bought support development teams. And then they went and bought Bungie. So So they're securing their future. They're like, look, all of our support teams that we're going to need for our growth, nah, y'all ain't buying them. They wouldn't buy them. And they said, look, where are we falling short at? We're falling short with multiplayer. You ain't gonna, look, we gonna pick up Bungie because you ain't gonna leave us hanging on multiplayer. They wouldn't buy Bungie. You look at Amazon. Amazon is seeing some success. Even though they had a lot of heartache, they're seeing some success with New World at first, even though that player base has fallen off. And now with their partnership with the Korean developers of Lost Ark, they're seeing some and bringing that to the States, or bringing that west. Seeing success there. So they got some development work to do to lean on. Stadia got deals that are current now, but they don't have any developers locked in case of a buy. So even if Google, because this was my argument. I think Google should buy either Ubisoft or EA. Google, not Stadia. Google. Because if you buy EA, you buy Ubisoft, or both, damn it, then you have two of the core third-party development services that are guaranteed for anything that you want to do. You let them operate unilaterally, for a while. They just don't go on other streaming platforms. You let them be multi-platform, do their thing. They just new legacy content stays where it's at, and they don't no additional things come to any other streaming platforms. And when the time is right, 5, 6, 7 years from now, then you start making a push for starting off with Madden on Stadia first. You know what I'm saying? Or FIFA if they keep it on Stadia, or Jedi Fallen Order 2 or 3 on Stadia first. You know what I mean? That you start making it like, even if you got to keep Madden because of the NFL, you got to keep those universal. EA, when now they have the power of Respawn behind them. Oh my God. Yeah, they're a company that you would love to absorb right now. So being that they got that going on, you would utilize the power of one Stadia first, and then once you get your player base strong enough to where it makes sense and where you're not leaving too much money on the wood, you know what I mean? Then you can start making these things exclusive. Same with Ubisoft. So those are the two. I think if they get those two companies, they're in a good spot, regardless of what's happening elsewhere. They're in a good spot. And I would absorb those two companies, let them run unilaterally, and step back. But you need support. What PlayStation is doing, and this is what's surprising me, because you see what a lot of Stadia is doing is based off of the tenure at PlayStation, because Jack Buser and Phil Harrison, that's where they came from. Phil Harrison was one of the 40 founding original members of PlayStation. And Jack Buser has a decorated tenure there. So you see a lot of what they're doing, especially with Stadia Pro, it a lot mimics PlayStation Plus in a lot of ways. So what you do is you continue picking off what you see that is successful. I see that you're doubling down on white labeling, which is great. You need that because that's what helped bring Microsoft out of its little dark age last gen. You do the same thing, cool. But what you need to be picking up from PlayStation is PlayStation has doubled down on support teams that have done a hellified job for them and were crucial for them. And I don't see any more, look, next to Ubisoft, there was no more crucial partnership or even if it was temporary, no more crucial than QLOC. Why? Because that wasn't CD Projekt Red that developed that port for Stadia, that changed the trajectory of everything for the platform. That was QLOC. QLOC did that. And based upon what QLOC did, and some other things on the periphery, but mainly what QLOC did, you decided that you no longer wanted to focus on developing your own things, at least at this moment, that the thing that brought you up 5-fold, that had you get 2/3 of your projected 1 million monthly active users by the end of the year, was how well Cyberpunk played on your platform. That's all because of QLOC. So like how House Marquee or whatever support studios that PlayStation hired, because they were crucial to their success for things like ports. I've been saying this for over a year. Stadia should buy QLOC. Or not Stadia, Google should buy QLOC. Google should buy them. Let them still be a universal porting house for everybody. And when that time goes up, where you ain't got to worry about having devs working specifically on Stadia, whatever the case may be, or whenever it's just feasible, then yeah, have them working solely for Stadia. That was a missed opportunity. Now, I don't know what other studios are out there, except for one. One comes to mind. And hold on, my homie Bloody Games. I hope. Hold on. Let me see something. Let me do something real quick because he gonna say, "Hold on, I heard the show the other day. You was talking crazy." Hold on. Let me do something real quick. Give me a second. I'm sorry. Give me 1 second. Bear with me. So my home, I ain't gonna send it to him. I'll talk to him later. So the homie Rob from Bloody Review Games and also part of Mantis Games, he was on the show. Remember, he came on the SSC podcast. Shout out to Rob, and he also did a special video for the Stadia Community Award show with Clive and John and Jack. They did a hell of a job, so shout out to them for that too. But my homie, good friend Rob, Mantis Games said to us when they were live with us last year, look, man, we feel like Stadia would be better off putting a heavier focus on indie games. Not a complete focus, a bigger focus on indie games right now while things are still early. And we can help in that process. We can help people port those games over. As a matter of fact, there's a subject matter I got to talk about because it's related to that, because we got a couple of developers that express interest in bringing some indie games over, some good looking indie games over to the platform. And I wonder if Mantis Games can help them. But Rob and company had brought that up. And the games that they did bring, I forgot the names of them, but we were looking at them live on air, I believe. Or we looked at the games. Storm and I and Rob had us checking out the games before we went live, and me and Storm's jaws dropped. We're like, damn, you guys were behind this? Hey, look, if my homies at Mantis or if Rob is listening, hey, look, don't shoot the messenger. I'm just talking. You know what I'm saying? I'm just talking. Love you guys. And look, you may not necessarily think this is a bad thing. Google. Write a check for Mantis Games. Write a check for Philippe. Write them a check. Because at the most, if you're not going to buy up these studios to help solidify AAA development. If you're not going to do that right now, if you feel like, you know what, you're not putting your finger over that button right now, fine. But I know your PlayStation radar is going off. Bing, 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 bing. We better buy up these support studios that are going to make a big difference for us. I get that there's we're hiring people, you know what I'm saying, to take a lot of this task up. But ain't nothing like having that experience there to people that have already done it. Having people that are already experienced in gaming is vital to how fast things turn around, how fast you can launch pad, you know what I'm saying? And I truly believe, because I don't see where you can go wrong with this. And everybody may not agree with me, but I truly believe that Google should have bought QLOC, or they need to buy someone like Mantis that has that ability. Let it be a Google purchase, not a Stadia purchase, so you don't run into those legalities or other issues. Let it be a Google purchase, and let them run as they're running. Reap the rewards, reap the benefits. Then several years from now, then you start changing things. First on Google, first on Google Play. You know what I'm saying? First on Stadia. Then, as like Eves said in that conference call, I believe that was Eves that was talking to those investors recently, when cloud gaming starts becoming 50% of the mainstream gaming business, then that's when things can start becoming exclusive. So those are my thoughts on QLOC. It's not doom and gloom, but it's a missed opportunity. And I get that Stadia isn't there yet, but there just are some actions that are happening on the periphery that could cause you some heartache down the road. And I think if you just buy, tuck, and let build, like if they would have bought QLOC, that would have benefited Google so much. Just let them run as they're running. Let up Mantis games just run as they're running. You gotta at least start picking up these support groups. You got to. You gotta see the writing on the wall. If that Microsoft deal goes through, my God. If it goes through, that is going to turn on its head the amount of stuff that's being absorbed. And you gotta I get having your own, you're gonna hire your own, that's great. But, get some of these support groups. And I just think QLOC was a missed opportunity. Those are my thoughts. Now we're going to turn it to your thoughts. Let's see. Is my panel working now? No, it still ain't working. So I got to do this manually. I'm a lazy SOB. All right. So let's go to what you guys think. Colin says, yo, Average, my mans. Kessel Runner, yeah. He says, Tencent out here buying everything these days. You ain't never lied. Chariot Man Gaming. Yo, what's up, M2K? What's up, chat? Yo, shout out Chariot Man Gaming. Check out his content. He's killing it out here. Twisted Barber, good to see you. Hey, Twisted. I need you to reach out to me. I know, and thoughts and prayers out to you, brother. I've been meaning to reach out to you, but I got slammed with this stuff with my wife. You know what I mean. But if it's convenient for you, reach out to me by DM or something like that, Twisted, because Tommy Rocks is trying to get the band back together. It was like the Blues Brother. He's trying to get the band back, and he got a hellified plan. I got to reach out to Tommy Rocks too. But yeah, he's trying to get the band back together. for Division 2. So reach out to me when you get a chance. And I don't, no pressure. I just wanted to drop that dime on you while I see you here. Blue Fire Demon 44 says, why publishers can now use Windows versions for Stadia. And that's great stuff. I can't wait to hear more about that during the live session. Why they can Blue Fire Demon? I mean, it got something to do with the development tool set. I'm not an expert at that. That'd be a great thing for us. I'm gonna be learning that with you, brother. I think Sonny was trying to break it down a little bit. I'm not a technical guru on that, and I wish I could point you in a direction, but I'm gonna be learning just like you. That's gonna be some great stuff, and we need that. We definitely need that. Electus Returns says evidence of deprioritization. Yeah. There's this guy on Twitter. I'll deal with him later. They haven't been deprioritized. What's happened is, okay, so, and shout out to my homegirl. I would love, you know what I would love to do? If anybody's listening, you pass this on to my homegirl. Hold on, I'm saying she's my homegirl. I'm, you know what, y'all? I've been so worn out. And whoa. Give me a second here, because I can't commit this sin live on air. It's Aaron Hoffman John, right? Y'all gotta excuse me. I've been so tired. That just I'm forgetting. I forgot my wife's name the other day, and she's looking because I'm talking to the doctor, and I forgot her name. I'm not tired now, but my mind is tired. If that makes sense. I'm as y'all can see all the screaming. Aaron Hoffman John. There we go. And she changed her name on Twitter to Aaron Drake Kajioka. I hope I didn't butcher that, Aaron. I would love, so if somebody's listening to this, somebody let Aaron Hoffman John know. I need her to do a podcast. I don't care what it is. It could be about chocolate chip. Not the chocolate chip cookies. It could just be about chocolate chips. I need Aaron Hoffman John to do a podcast because the way that she breaks things down, the intelligence level is so elegant. It's like everything stops moving. And that's the type of stuff that I appreciate. You want to know who your favorite podcasters is or would be? It would be Aaron Hoffman John. I love learning new things, and I love deep diving into what makes those new things work. That's why when I'm learning something, you can put me in a room. I tell my kids this all the time, because they always say, Dad, you're extra. Like, why do you go through these many steps to do something? And I'm like, I can't leave any stone unturned. It's just the way that I am. I think part of it was growing up poor. We had to make $1 out of 15 cents, and when you do that, you don't take anything for granted. You make sure that you got to make sure everything is working because you don't have a lot of resources at hand. And secondly, that's just how my mind is. Like, if I'm going to learn how a car engine gets a car to move, you can try explaining it to me at a high level. Like, well, there's engines and there's pistons and there's gears, and I'm not going to understand it. The only way I can understand it is if I take the engine apart and you explain to me every single part and what its purpose is. This is how my mind is. It's how my mind works. I remember when I first started managing, I'm gonna get back on topic. When I first started managing, and the manager I was taking over for, because she was moving somewhere else, it was only supposed to be a 2-week transition. It ended up being 2 months. Why? Because the functions I was taking over, I was like, no. What you don't understand is I can't manage this team. I'm not one of those, I'm not a micromanager to just make sure that you're here on time for lunch, all the other stuff, and this, not, and at a topical level. If I need to know if there's flaws in the process that maybe I'm inheriting, because I want to wipe them out, because I'm not going to be someone that gets held accountable for something that I didn't originate. So some of the functions that I took over from this manager were reconciliation, that deals with numbers and accounting and things like that, and our call center functions. Mind you, well, no, I'm lying. I was going to say I never answered, but I never answered non-cold calling calls at that moment. And it took me 2 months to understand how all that worked. And she couldn't leave, and she was upset because I went to the big boss and I said, let her continue to manage this team. And she didn't like the team. That's what she wanted to leave. I said, but we all get paid. You got to do what you got to do. I may not like who I'm working with, but I got to work with them. I said, let her continue to manage the team. Let me operate as one of her employees for 2 months. And then once I get comfortable with the job, she can go. But I got to understand what I'm managing. And I don't want to be put in charge of something where I'm just at the topical level. I'm dealing with things. I got to get to the root of it. You know what I'm saying? So I know I went all off key. And I promise not to do that anymore. You know I'm a liar. But I would love to have Erin Hoffman-John do a podcast just explaining and breaking things down, because the way she elegantly explained how, and now I'm going to start answering your question, Alekness. She explained how things, she didn't say this in so many words, but I connected the dots. Things like the Business Insider article, even though there was some truths in those things that were being said, the context in which it was put together in the tone was so misleading. And it's a common practice with mainstream media when they don't like something or they're trying to push something over. When it's all about them instead of the reader and what's in the best interest of the reader, they do this all the time. And it's becoming too much of a common practice to where anything that's being journalized is worthless. You're just reading a bunch of words and you're wasting your time, and you're not really learning the core of what's being talked about. She did it in such an elegant fashion. It made me realize who was I talking? I can't remember who I was talking to. I said I'd love to have Erin Hoffman-John break down just the origin of chocolate chips, not the cookies, just the chocolate chips. But that's so true. Stadia was not deprioritized. The white labeling had its prioritization raised. Now, maybe it had its prioritization raised at a ratio higher than Stadia, to where maybe it went from 5%, because they've been talking about this, and shout out to Clive Linden, who reminded us of this, because too often we have short-term memory. White labeling, as we were making it such a big deal internally, white labeling was something they were talking about since before the damn platform launched. He sat there with Jeff Keighley and said, yeah, we're going to do white labeling, and essentially. So when you close down SG&E and you realize, hey, we got to take an Xbox approach to this where the white labeling has to grow up. White labeling's ratio of focus may have went up at a faster rate than Stadia, but Stadia wasn't deprioritized. If something is deprioritized from a business aspect, not a common, I'm talking common folk or folksy aspect, we're at a bar drinking a couple of beers. I'm talking about from a business aspect. And I can only take this from a business aspect from a publication called Business Insider. If Stadia was deprioritized from a business aspect, then its budget would have went down. The hands on it would have went down. Its focus would have went down. And that right there, I can assure you, is not the case. It's false. Because I know firsthand from people on the front lines that Stadia's focus went up. Its prioritization on the chalkboard went up. Stadia retail. Stuff that affects Stadia gamers on the Stadia retail platform got bigger focus, got bigger money. And a lot of those things was talked about in the Stadia keynote. So the whole deprioritization is not misleading. It's not unfortunate. It's a lie. I know a lot of people don't like me using that word, but look, we don't play again. Come from the Baptist South. Anything that is intentionally made to misrepresent what's actually going on is a lie. It's not, oh, well, I'm being frugal with the truth. No, it's a lie. When you deprioritize something, the budget may have been $100,000 in 2020. In 2021, the budget is $90,000. You had 20 employees, now you're going down to 50. That's deprioritization in the business sense. Not because something else came up. That's like saying, all right, here's going to shut down that whole argument, because a lot of people are going to hear this and they're going to say, oh no, that doesn't make sense. Here's what's going to shut down that whole argument. PlayStation knows that in the future, their current standing in the multiplayer world is not going to work. So they have to put more prioritization on their their multiplayer efforts. So they went and bought Bungie for what, $3 billion? Let's look that up. $3.6 billion. So Sony bought Bungie for $3.6 billion in 2022. And a lot of that was stock options, but we'll say at least $1.5 billion or whatever they spent on Bungie. Let's say that's more than the operating budget that they've used to fund God of War and Horizon Zero Dawn, which are both coming out this year all together. Can I then, for PNTS Network, write a headline that says, Sony deprioritizes single player story games for multiplayer? Aha! Think about that one. You can't play these games here, man. That's why I ain't heard from the homie Rerez. Rerez, I'm still waiting for you to come through, bucko. So we can have a great conversation, man, which will be great. But think about that. Let me put it on the screen. For those of you that may be confused, let me put it on the screen. Hold on 1 second. God damn it, I gotta do this manually. Hold on. Let me show you something. Sony bought Bungie 2022 for $3.6 billion. Now, some of that again is stock options. But let's say it took them $2 billion. It was $2 billion in cash, right? Even $1.5 billion in cash. I can almost guarantee that $1.5 billion in cash is more than what Sony spent to develop Horizon Forbidden West and God of War. Why do I say that? Because Sony is known even with their great technology, they are known to do it a lot cheaper than other their developer counterparts. So even though Halo was $500 million to the developing market, I can see Horizon Zero Dawn and God of War separately probably being $200 million. You know what I'm saying? For the same activity. That's still significantly less than what they paid for Bungie. And they told you. And look, they're not even making them exclusive. They told you we bought Bungie to solidify and boost up our multiplayer efforts. So again, Business Insider, Hugh Laidley, can I then write a story that says PlayStation deprioritizes single player multi games for multiplayer games? Or Destiny 2 gets prioritized, God of War is deprioritized. Sony told you that they want to make less single story games. They're going to take longer. Does that mean it's being deprioritized? No. They want to put more into them, so it's going to take longer. Everything that you're working on doesn't work on the same timeline. And because Stadia now realizes that, hey, our white labeling efforts maybe need to be increased to more than we originally thought, there very well could have been a rate of injection of cash into the white labeling effort that was more than the retail effort. But it doesn't mean that retail was deprioritized. Retail's not deprioritized because they didn't take money from it. They didn't lower the investment, they raised it. But they call themselves Business Insider. Riddle me that. So, it doesn't make much sense to me. I think to the average person who is keen on this stuff, it doesn't make sense to. And Electness, I know that was the longest answer on God's green earth, and hopefully you can appreciate it. But that's why I say the things that I say. I give the pundits names like Puke Punditry and all that other stuff because they come up with these quick, untethered, and untested descriptions for Stadia, but they don't cross-reference it to any other activity in the gaming community. But we do here. We do here. Thank you for that comment. Chariot Man Gaming says, what's up, Twisted Barber? Who else we got in the house? Ubisoft, by Ubisoft. Yeah, I think Ubisoft and EA. Ubisoft and EA. Ubisoft because they're the ones giving them the biggest AAA support. EA because their ports are just fantastic on the platform. Soonala! Bibbidi Bop says, yo! Tristan Barber says, MM2K, it will be interesting to see what platform will be used for the Commonwealth Games as they are planning to introduce esports. I know, and I'm glad you brought that up. It's a great conversation that we were kind of having on it. Yeah. I'm very interested to see that as well. Yep, definitely. We got a super chat from the homie Average. He says, I see with the $5. Thank you, Average. He says, I see you in your bag today. Laugh out loud. Keep on telling them how it is. Look, if y'all been following my content, shout out to Average. If y'all been following my content, for the first year, maybe 2 years, I was as humble pie. I kept my mouth shut as far as what I was doing. I was just talking about things and they were getting doubted and laughed at or whatever. Oh, that ain't true. That ain't true, without people doing the research. And I just kept it moving. But now we're at a point to where I think a lot of the stuff that I've said, that even though it was true, because it was coming from me, and I'm just, all you know about me at the time was I'm just some loudmouth who made these claims that I did this, that, and the third. That a lot of it got ignored. And that's why we keep getting caught up in the okie doke of Business Insider articles and stuff like that. We get caught up and we get dismayed. Oh man, it hurt me to, I mean, I kind of know better, but it still hurt me to see the Business Insider article, even though I know better. That shouldn't be happening. If somebody's lying to you and you know they're lying to you, your first inclination or reaction should be to dismantle the lie. Not let the lie overtake. Oh, it's a lie. It's not a fact, but oh man, no. Because A, this is not going away. It's only going to intensify because, as I said to someone on Twitter, the mainstream media just has its own personal bias towards a sole cloud gaming service that does not have a dedicated device backup or recourse. Stadia is the first one to come out there and launch such effort, so it gets the brunt of this. And the problem with that is that this is derailing the evolution of technology. Just like y'all sitting out there, people ain't gonna like this. Just like y'all sitting out there with a 720p device that can barely run the plugins off of Chrome that's supposed to be a mini PC that hardly got any games on it, and out of the box is hardly doing anything that they told you about. But just for the simple fact that you could hold the device in your hand, Steam Deck, it's a marvel. The potential of it, I can't wait. I'm so excited. I personally am nothing against the Steam Deck as far as other people using it. If you like it, I love it. I'm not getting one because it has no point for me. I think it's cool that something that has the potential of running as efficient as a PC can be in your hands. That's cool. But to me, the more marvelous technology, the thing that's going to push things even farther, is something that is running over the cloud that potentially can give me just as good enough output, if not better, than something that I've spent thousands of dollars on and putting all these parts in every 6 to 7, 8 months. To me, that's the more phenomenal technology. And I get it from a gaming perspective. Like if you're an IGN or somebody that, yeah, you just happen to talk about tech because it's, part of the whole gaming stratosphere. I get to where they're apprehensive about it, even though it's still ridiculous. But but it doesn't surprise me rather that they're apprehensive. But when we have an Ars Technica, and other entities that are tech focused, that are acting as remedial as some of these gamers that, again, we got to be honest, gamers, the average gamer, not all gamers, the average gamer is less technically inclined on the product that they have in their hand than any other tech user out there, period. Because all they want to do is plug and play. Now it differs when it comes to PC, but I'm talking about to those that are buying devices. We are less technically inclined than any other tech user out there, on average. Not us listening to this podcast, but we don't make up the bulk of the device ownership out there. It's the casual gamer. The casual gamers don't understand how this stuff works. They just want it to work. It's bewildering to me that a tech company is just as aloof and puts content out there just as remedial as someone who happens to be ignorant to tech. So I've come to a point to where I've had to come out here, at least on the business side. I'm not the biggest tech guru, but I've learned a lot. My uncle was an IT specialist. My brother was a VP of an up and coming internet company that had the best performance of any internet company in the United States at the time before they got absorbed. So I got a lot of family that are technically inclined, and they help me a lot in my growth. Just things. So I've learned how to build computers, and I used to do that as a side hustle, build computers for people. I had a business that I was going to start where we did that for low income families. And then that kind of fell apart because of the internal partnerships that I had really weren't the best. But I know a little bit of, I know a good amount. I'm not going to say I'm an expert, but I know a good amount about tech. But what I really know is business. I'm really proficient in business. And you didn't hear me talk about that a lot until recently. Because as we're saying stuff, even stuff that is given to us from people on the front lines, it's like, But then everything that we say keeps coming to fruition, keeps coming to fruition, keeps coming to fruition. But I start seeing too many of you guys still falling for the okie doke. So we have to double down on that. It's not me being cocky. I remember I was talking somewhere about my experience. Someone was like, well, hold on, MM2K. Slow down a little bit. You got to slow down on that. You sound a little arrogant. No, this is not coming from just some loudmouth. 25 years of business experience, being in business, testifying and doing agreements and stuff like that. And I can tell you how to separate the forest from the trees. Yes. Mr. Hugh Langley or Longfoot, whatever the hell his name is. Mr. Hugh Langley writes for a publication called Business Insider. That's a prestigious name that just looking at the aura of that name means a lot. But what I can tell you is that Mr. Hugh Langley knows less about business than in the thumbnail that I'm about to bite off and tear off and throw in the garbage. And it's important for you, not just me, but to listen to other people that know what they're talking about, people that know technology. Ron from Ars Technica, when he's talking about, because GFN has better latency, nobody's going to want to buy Stadia. If GFN is out of the price range for the average cloud gamer, Einstein, that has no effect on Stadia. What are you talking about? But I digress. So let's continue on. Chariot Man says crazy. Blue Fire Demon says, or make a mascot game. Chariot Man Gaming says Stadia need to do this. Its artist says, what's up, MM2K? How are you? Have you played Elden Ring yet? I hope we see it coming to Stadia in the future because in my opinion, it's such a great game. Its artist, I am not a Souls game type of person like the Sekiro Sacrifice. I don't even know the name of the game. We're gonna go to like 3:30. Those are not my style of game, but I still bought it. I still bought it because I wanted to do my part to support the platform in hopes to get Call of Duty over here. Now, if Call of Duty comes over here, am I playing it? Yeah, probably. I'm not a big Call of Duty gamer either. But I know, again, the business side of me as well as the gamer side of me knows what type of support the platform needs to help spur its growth. So, am I playing Elden Ring? No, I'm not. I'm not a Souls gamer. I'm just not maybe years ago when I was a teenager, but now I don't. I'm more of an exploration, shoot 'em up type of guy now, right? that's my stick. But no, if the Souls, if Elden Ring comes to the platform, I'm buying it just to support it, and just to have it in my library. I mean, even if I don't play it, my son will play it, or other people will play it. That's part of my family. I can do a review on it. From a noob's perspective. So that's just the support that I lay on the platform because I want to see the platform grow. But it's great. I'm glad. A lot of people are loving it. I was watching the homie David Jaffe stream of it. Hilarious. Yeah, just not my type of game. But there are some games I will buy to support to help, because if those games are connected to other things I think will help the platform, I'm gonna do it. You know what I mean? Average says, I love that. The likelihood, though, I don't see how either the two most lucrative developers agree to be bought by a platform that's Linux-based right now, or would that not be an issue? Yeah, with this development tool set, I don't think that would be an issue. Here's what we got to remember on the business side. When companies want to be bought, that's coming from the board. Normally, when companies are bought, the board goes and they take their check and they go to wherever they go. The CEO goes. Now you might have a president of operations or something like that. They're going to stay around. All the management people, from the low level management to the high level management, they're still, because they're making the business run. But the CEO and the board, they're about its market development or its financial development. That's their main thing. So when you have a CEO of a company and you have a board that's willing to, get themselves bought out, that's basically what it is. They're being bought out. It's likely that board is not going to remain. They're going to get a fat check and they go. Somebody's getting. You got to think about it this way: when Microsoft is paying somebody. Now, not saying all the time people get absorbed, they get a fat check and then they roll. No. Sometimes people stay. But a lot of times that's a cue, like the board for Bethesda, for example. They got bought out. They got a fat check. They gone. So if you ever, one of the best business things where you've made it is if you get on a board of directors for a Fortune 500 company. Yeah, let's think about it this way. Again, this is business education. You know how there's city directors now. You know what I'm saying? To where you may have the mayor that's signing off on things and doing stuff, and then there's a city director. The city director is only there for the financial aspect of it. So I don't think, to answer your question, I don't think it'll be a problem who buys them. If the check is fat enough and the board feels comfortable with it, they're gone. How does Windows emulation work, or is that something else? Okay, yeah, Blue Fire Demon, he want to know how that. I'm with you, brother. I get it. I'm excited for it too. Buying don't guarantee success. Ron Slusher says, look at Nintendo. I'm not sure. I'm gonna be honest with you, Ron. You got me there because I don't know what Nintendo done bought. But no. Here's the theory behind it, without knowing what Nintendo did. Here's the theory behind it again. EA, under this resubmerges with Respawn, Jesus. And Ubisoft. Ubisoft just did a conference call where they had great financials and things went over what they expected. Hold on one second. The theory behind it, Ron, is you have currently two of the most successful third-party companies out there that you need to have in your hat long term. We're in an environment where things are being bought up at crazy rates. This is crazy. Like 5 years ago, we didn't have to worry about this. Now it's like everything could be bought up and everything could be under the helm of 4 companies when it comes to gaming if this trend continues the next 10 years, right? You got Tencent, you got Embracer Group, you just got everybody but Microsoft. Everybody buying up everything. It's not about buying to like try something new. It's buying to solidify your future. So what I'm guessing is Nintendo, whatever they bought, which was before this latest trend, was they were buying stuff to try something new and go into a whole new realm. No, Stadia's buying just to solidify its future. Just like all of PlayStation's purchases were to solidify its future, to help in deficiencies, critical deficiencies. All right, we got these porting houses, because you know PlayStation's known for remakes. We got these porting houses to when we didn't have new content. They ported some hellified games for us, and we want to keep that rolling. That's part of what we do. And if Microsoft or Tencent or Embracer buys these companies, we may lose access to this. This is critical to our future. This is critical. We're not trying something, we're solidifying our future. Let's buy these porting houses. Boom. We are really deficient on the multiplayer aspect internally. Who's the best at it in many regards? Bungie. Let's solidify our future, because we know going into the future, it's not this is just going to be lucrative. We're going to be old fogies and we're going to crumble into dust if we don't get our multiplayer components of what we do in order. That's why they bought Bungie. What I'm saying for Google is not to just do what the Joneses is doing. They got to solidify their future long term. So while you're trying to build up this white labeling effort, because if we're looking at Microsoft, it took them like 4 or 5 years to be able to do it. While you're building up your white labeling effort, you still got to have AAA gamers, a good portion of them within your demographic, come to your platform. You have to. Because they spend the most money. You know, with the cost of the game itself and the DLC and all that, they spend the most money. They spend the most money per gamer. Okay? Because they're more likely your hardcore game, buying DLC and all this other stuff. So you gotta have them. To solidify your future with them, let's buy 2 of the biggest at the game that have already been on the flat platform that have experience, because the biggest one in the game just got bought. Activision Blizzard. So it's securing your future. So again, with complete ignorance that I admit to what happened with Nintendo, I'm not sure if Nintendo's purchases were related to solidifying their future more than it was, let's try something new. Blue Diamond says, I'm 18 and that makes totally sense. Sudalai says, I don't think they'll need a porting studio. They are just getting started when it comes to improving the porting process. I do think Google and Amazon are looking to buy somebody though. Let me ask you a question. Honest question, Bippity Bop. Not a gotcha question, an honest question. You're doing crazy fly Google and Amazon content. I think you're doing a great job in shining a light on both of those platforms. And again, the platforms that I feel are going to be the top of the cloud gaming space. I want to ask you a question. If all of Stadia's games had a 4K 60 component to them, which we know they're capable of, would you be paying attention to Amazon Luna? Right now. I mean, would you? I mean, again, I'm not saying you wouldn't be interested in learning about them, but because pretty much the content overlaps, particularly the Ubisoft content, except with a few items here and there. But if Stadia had a more stable, I won't say more stable, if they had a more consistent 60 frames per second per game for these AAA games, and with the 4K game, and 4K was implemented more, and then you saw a lot of 4K 60 where it was upscaled from maybe 1800p or whatever, and it was like high settings at the least. Would you have a focus on Luna that much right now? And I asked that to say this. Stadia, as far as its all-around capabilities, I think is at the top. As far as all around, when it comes to pricing, when it comes to accessibility, when it comes to convenience and performance, when you factor everything and you average everything all together, like it's like a report card. It's like your GPA. Okay, yeah, you may have gotten an A+ where I got an A. I got a B- here, you got an A-. But when you average all of our grades together, I ended up, 3.9 student where you're a 3.5. And it's going to be hard to stay at the top because these companies are going to be trying stuff to, up their game. But I feel that a lot of people that are looking at Amazon Luna, as I did, are looking at Luna because Luna damn well guarantees 60 frames per second on every single game. And then when it comes to the Ubisoft games, you can crank those settings up. You can crank them to medium, high. If Stadia, at least for the Ubisoft games, had the settings to high because they had a porting house that was doing that right now. Every game was 60 frames per second. Everything was 4K upgraded upscaled from 1800p, 1440p at the least. Ubisoft Plus on Amazon, I still would be a ghost town. It would be a ghost town. Ubisoft Plus would at least. And I think that's important because, again, in these building years, you're trying to get in enough revenue to supplement your building as possible. If the way it looks like that is working with Ubisoft Plus is that Ubisoft Plus is kind of doing what Stadia Pro is doing now with the whole engagement thing, where that extra $2 or $3 that it costs for you to have the cloud component, they're splitting that between Ubisoft, they're splitting that between Amazon and Luna, between Luna and Google. And they're looking at who's logging into what and playing what time on each platform. And then they cut the check every month based off of that. So every time I go boot up an Ubisoft game, this is why I focus on Ubisoft. If every time I boot up an Ubisoft game, my experience as far as the performance ain't what I like, and I'm a 1080p gamer, I ain't even worried about 4K. It's 1080p that I'm working with. And Luna is giving me the better output. That's a sign that if I'm working at Google Stadia, maybe I need a porting house right now. So every dollar counts. Doesn't mean you're gonna fail. Doesn't mean that you're dead in the water. Doesn't even mean that you're in trouble. But in the building years, every dollar counts. And if I got a porting house that Ubisoft can call and say, look, the best we can do to make this deadline is 1080p 30 at medium high settings. Here you go. And a group like QLOC that would have been absorbed by Stadia can get that thing up to 4K 60 max with high settings and better. Then they getting all that Ubisoft money. Opposite of a few games that are on that are on Amazon and that aren't on Stadia. But those games that aren't on Stadia, I don't know how big of a deal they are. I mean, I don't know if For Honor's on Luna, but if For Honor is on Luna, that would be the only exception. Stadia will be getting over 80 to 90% of that money. Oh, no. Stadia will be getting over 90% of that money. Guaranteed. There's something to think about. And now your mama knows, says, my guy, MM2K, what's going on? Nothing, just chilling, brother. Chilling. He says, I thought I was your favorite YouTuber. No. I said, well, you know what? I have to be honest, cowboy. If Aaron Hoffman John came up with a podcast, it'd be her. It'd be her. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, brother. Dusty says, to be honest, she could be the face of Stadia. Yeah. We need a Blue Fire said we need a mascot. What's up? Next we go hard. What's going on? Good to see you. Oh, hey, Aminar. Where you been, brother? Aminar in the house. Dusty says, kind of like when people blew the Ubisoft free-to-play thing out of proportion. This is already dead. Okay. There is one more thing. Oh, let me get to the bottom here. And Soon Alive says, I see what you're saying. I still would because I just want to stream on YouTube and Twitch easily. I like the tech too. Luna has some FPS issues sometimes too, though. Some games aren't smooth 60. Okay, I can dig it. I can dig it. And yeah, now that they have that streaming, their direct stream, I wonder how well it works though. Have you tried it out, Bip? How well does it work? Is it as crystal clear, Stadia? I'm just wondering. All right, so the last thing I want to talk about, y'all, which I didn't get to talk about, is the talk about these indie games. People are gonna be mad at me because they're like, bro. Okay. Like, cause you're just supposed to be, this was supposed to be an open mic. That's why I try to get all this into sound off. Okay, next up on Stadia, Indie World Open Adventures, Calico, and Lake coming soon. We love open world games, which give players the opportunity to experience their own pace and choose their own type of adventure. They want to have some good news. Two indie open world games are coming. And the first one is this Calico, which is very charming looking. Like, I'm gonna be honest with you. think I would ever play any of these games. But I can see where the whole indie aspect of it, it really pulls people in. Like everybody's like, this game looks so cute, and I don't that word cute ain't in my repertoire normally. I'm gonna use charming, but this game is looking. It's very It looks very charming, and I can see people like my homegirl Snow Bunny. Shout out to Snow Bunny. I can see this is a game that she would get into. You know what I'm saying? Like, this game looks very charming, man, and it's a good game for Stadia to have on the platform. And here's what I would do. If I'm Stadia, these are the games. Look at that, the catch just that's crazy, son. That's crazy. If I'm Stadia, I'm taking a, what the hell? See, I ain't watched this full trailer. This is wild. If I'm Stadia, I'm doing something where games like Calico, maybe Control, because Control is like 80 billion years old, and other games, there's 5 games that we have that are interchangeable, like what Luna just introduced, where YouTube Prime members or YouTube Premiere members can play these 5 games at will. And they can play it at 1080p. That's what I would do. I think enough with Amazon, even though I like Amazon, enough with Amazon ripping off Stadia. Stadia needs to rip off Amazon. I would take that idea from them. And next is the other game, Lake. This is a point and click adventure. Oh, Jesus Christ, it's loud. Point and click adventure. There's people that like these type of games. Cool. Not for me. But I don't mind the indie. I don't mind just like, one thing that I will say is that there's a false narrative that Stadia is just focused on indie games and not AAA games. I think we ran the numbers and we looked at how many AAA games opposite of launch, because launch was something different. They launched with a whole bunch of hardcore, older AAA games. But when you look at AAA games that have come day and date to the platform, they've been consistent, like 5 or 6 in 2020, 2021, and I'm expecting it to be the same in 2022. It's just that when it comes to what they present, they're presenting all these indie games more than they did in 2020. You know what I'm saying? Like, the indie games were just like a real quick blur, like, oh, this is coming out. And now they're really fleshing out how they show these games. So, it's given that presence that they're only focused on indie games. And I don't mind that. But there's the more slice of life indie games like this. And there's still some action-packed indie games that can appeal to the AAA hardcore, if money's a thing. You know what I'm saying? Because we get it. Now that Jason Schreier put it out there, everybody wants you to get them 30 million if they're gonna do day and date. You know what I'm saying? So I get it. I get the troubles. But there are games out there like, what's the sword game that's out there that came to Stadia? It kind of reminds you of an Elder Scrolls. Oh man, I can't believe King. There are indie games that are out there that are action packed that I feel like if they were ported to Stadia, especially if Stadia had a porting house to help speed up the process, that if Stadia showcased a lot more of these games, these indie games, even after the fact of release, it will go a long way in helping to bolster the platform and help eradicate that perception. Like, Where's Remnant After the Ashes? Like right now, Remnant After the Ashes, that player base, I mean, I don't even hear anything about the game anymore. Bring them on. You know what I'm saying? And there's other games in that vein that are indie games that you can bring on, because you got Remnant before the Ashes, or before the whatever. You got that game on there. Where's Remnant After the Ashes? You know what I mean? So just a suggestion. Like, you can get some more hardcore indie games on here. They don't all have to be Slice of Life or the Untitled Goose Game. Like, it was great to see Young Souls. You know what I mean? Stuff like that. Wavetail was cool. But you can get some edgy indie games too. Like, I would love to see Remnant After the Ashes. That game came out in 2020. We're like 2 years after the fact, just about. Come on, let's get the game on here, baby. Or was it 2020? When did Remnant After the Ashes come out? Let me go look. There's that other game. I can't. Remnant After the Ashes. No, that was 2019. Yeah. I think Remnant After the Ashes should be. Let's see how much it is on Steam right now. Oh, come on. Ice game new page. It's $40 right now. Remnant from the Ashes. Remnant from the Ashes is a hell of a game. And I think the Stadia community would love it. Y'all would love this game. If you haven't played it, that game needs to be on this platform. Needs to be on the platform. Period. Let's see what else here I could go through real quick, because we're gonna close off at 3:30. Because I gotta run some errands for my wife. I talked about Luna. I said the announcement was cool. Well, let me go back. Let me see here. I think I still got it up here. Yep, I said the announcement of Luna was cool. What they talked about is they now have new channels. They got a family retro channel. So I think that the only channel that I really think right now is going to blow up and the one to watch for is the family channel. I also like the streaming aspect of it, where the stream was allows you to use your phone as a camera. I like that. The problems that I have is, where is the increased localization? You know what I mean? Like, I get it. Prime, for example, which is supposed to work, the Prime channel, the Prime gaming channel, which is supposed to work as a gateway. Like, there's 148 million Prime subscribers in the US, where there's 200 globally. So 2/3 of the Prime subscribers are in the US. I get that. But I think the cloud gaming community as a whole, especially the voices, I think they're evenly spread globally. You know what I mean? So I'm not sure if you want to get out of beta and not be available in Europe at all. I don't know what type of signal that sends. Okay, but at the most, I think to help get you word of mouth, you would want to be in North America. There's people like John Scar and other Canadians that, you know what I'm saying, that could really raise awareness to this. I just think that you should have a European presence and a North American presence, at least at launch, right? I get it. Places like India and Brazil, hammering out those deals, in Korea, or places that you definitely want to be, but hammering out those deals a little bit more complicated. But you should be in Europe at some capacity, North America at least. So because here's the thing, just focusing on United States, I'm gonna tell you something. This channel ain't doing it right now because Game Pass is the predominant thing in America, even for our niche community, the retro gaming community. Like nobody, even though you got 148 million subscribers, ain't nobody that's a retro gamer. They're not gonna go to, they're not in large droves gonna go to this channel because they're gonna just utilize the emulators that they have. The Jackbox games could potentially be something because of the party aspect. People that normally don't play games but just want to play, do some party stuff. Okay, I can see that. But I think the thing that's going to carry all of this is the family channel. I think the family channel is going to carry and subsidize all of this because here you go. You know, I'm a parent. That's where I think having 148 subscribers is going to do something. In North America or in the United States here, sweetheart. Okay, I subscribe to the Luna channel now. You can play these kid games. I think that's going to be the biggest whoop to do. I'm concerned about the success of these other channels though, just being focused in the United States because in the U.S., I'm telling you, look, anybody that has interest in this stuff, they're going the dedicated device route, even if this is available via just a couple of clicks. I don't even think in a significant cloud gaming niche level, you're gonna get much uptick on that because you're missing the word of mouth from Europe and all these other places. You need to at least be, I think you need to be in Europe too for these other channels to get that word of mouth that they need. You're really falling, word of mouth within, look, the European content creators and gamers and stuff like that within the cloud community are significant and you need them. If you want to rise to the top with GFN and Stadia, you need them, period. So that's why I don't like that move, just being in the United States. And also, as far as this concerned, you know, I'm kind of disappointed too not to see the uptick of 4K. Maybe they're going to announce that April 1st. Hopefully they do. But if they don't, I don't know. But with that said, we're going to close out with some final comments here about all this. Dustin Duran says, I know the question is for soon alive, but personally, I'm keeping my options open and not locking myself behind one because Luna has games that Stadia doesn't have. Same with GFM. Here's my thing. I'm keeping Luna because I know that Luna's gonna blow up. Like I said, Luna and Stadia are gonna be the top two in the cloud gaming space. They're gonna blow up. They have two, their streaming services are too successful for it to go any other way. Just those that are outside of the cloud gaming community, they don't understand that dynamic. They don't get that. And that's for them to learn. They gotta learn that. That being said, I'm all for options too, Dust. I just am not going to. I don't want things overlapping. Like I'm like a tech enthusiast, but I'm a conscious and I relate to both the casual gamer side and the tech enthusiast side, to where I'm a little bit more budget conscious than the atypical tech enthusiast. So, like for instance, GFN, I completely gave up on it. Why? Because the 3080 tier is too much for what it's offering. Like I wasn't getting consistent this, that, and the other. And, you know, like there's some games I would compare on Stadia, the games that I play, which mainly the Ubisoft games. And I'm like, I don't see a 60% difference. You're asking me to pay 60% more than what I'm paying for Stadia Pro to access 4K. I don't see a 60% difference across the board. So, and GFN Premier, or the whatever they call it, the $9.99 portion, just wasn't for me. So there are rumors though, you might be hearing this first, and I'm gonna talk about that this week. There are rumors that GFN might be coming out with a monthly tier. Matter of fact, let me see if I can pull that. Let me do that. Let me pull it up first. Let me start some speculation. Hold on. Email. Oh, come on. What the hell? Why did it do that? That was weird. Why did it sign me out? I gotta find. Here it goes. Goes the article. Now, unless this has been debunked, which I'm not aware of. Son of a chicken plucker. I had the wrong damn button. Copy link. Okay. All right. This is Tech Power Up. This also came on the 25th. Let me show you something. There we go. Sorry, I got to do this manually. This is courtesy of Tech Power Up. They said NVIDIA reportedly preparing GeForce Now RTX 3080 tier 1 month subscriptions. And it reads as follows. NVIDIA appears to be preparing to launch a 1 month subscription option for their highest 3080 tier of GeForce Now. The RTX 3080 tier is currently only available as a 6-month subscription, but according to marketing material obtained by Video Cards, the release of the monthly option should be imminent. The slide didn't contain any pricing for the subscription, but it would be likely a higher cost, possibly $20 USD. The RTX 3080 tier offers a maximum resolution of 1440p, 4K when using the NVIDIA Shield TV, and a frame rate of under 20 frames per second for up to 8-hour-long sessions. And I was just reading some of the comments to see if this has been debunked or solidified. But yeah, there you have it, folks. Almost forgot about that one. So the 3080 tier might be having a monthly subscription. If it's $20, you can forget it. If it's like $15, which I doubt that the monthly subscription would be less than the, less than what you break it down monthly if you did the bundle pack. The bundle subscription was 6 months. Because I think if you break it up into 6 months, I think it's like what, $16, $17 or something like that. $16.67. But there's no way I'm buying it at $20. It's not worth $20 a month to me. If it's at 15, I might think about it. I doubt it's going to be at 15. I doubt it's going to be less than 17, or even 18. Might be $19.99. With that being said, I don't want something that's overlapping, like to have it. Like the 3080 tier would be a great tier for me to have if I could access the 4K without having to buy, if I could access the 4K 60 without having to buy the NVIDIA Shield Pro. I love my color saturations. I love my sharpness. And even though the native resolution of some Stadia games, like I'm not talking about the 1080 games, the ones that are upscaled higher than that, there's just a crispness, a sharpness to them that I'm missing, like in the flat coloring, you know what I mean? And a lot of that AI upscaled stuff, like I had a great conversation on Twitter with the homie Gamer TV. We were talking about the LG TVs, the LG C1. He had one. He was using it the same way I was as a monitor, and he was going through the same problem that I had, where it was blotching, it was blurry, whatever. And I was like, I'm glad I'm not going crazy. So while we're doing this thread, I decided to do some more research and found out that the tone mapping needed to be turned off. I turned that tone mapping off, made some additional adjustments, boom, my problem was gone. For him, not so much. But one of the suggestions that he gave me was to go and turn on the super resolution. I'm like, super, I've never heard of that, but that's because I had it in PC, I had the monitor, I had the TV in PC mode, and in PC mode, it cuts down that super resolution. So I went to go use the super resolution, and yes, it gave you more details in the textures, but the coloring of it and the sharpness of it was flat to me. And I was like, ooh, this kind of reminds me of what I experienced with Geforce Now's 3080 tier. It's clear, very clear, don't get me wrong. And the textures are more defined, but I love that sharpness and that color. That's why I stay in PC mode, because in PC mode, you get that 444 chroma. That's important. It helps with that. So, when I'm playing the 3080 tier off my PC, even when everything is working, and that's another problem, I get a lot of screen tearing, I get a lot of jitters and dropped in frames or whatever. I get a lot of crazy stuff playing with the tier. Other people, not so much, but for me, that's what I get. But even when everything is working, like if I'm in a play instance that is working, that bothers me as far as like the color and the sharpness. So I have to have that. I would love to have that 4K 60 access just to see what that looks like. But then I'm concerned now with that AI upscaling. And two, I'm not even if I'm scared, and I shouldn't be, because it's working fantastic on the NVIDIA Shield, I'm not paying $200 for that. I want to be able to boot up anything and get that capability. I'm not paying $200 for that. So for me, I want to have access to, and I cancel Game Pass too. They're not coming out with anything that I want until November. Starlink and now Stalker 2. So I've canceled Game Pass. I want to have multiple platforms, but if what I'm getting out of platform A and platform B overlap too much to where I'm really not getting a benefit out of it, then I'm budget conscious. I'm like, nah, So yeah, now to where earlier I was just throwing my money away and I had everything. I have Stadia, I have Luna on the cloud aspect. I got, and that's it for now. You know what I mean? Like, I love how Luna plays a lot of the Ubisoft games. So that's why, and then what Luna's doing is smart. I don't want to lose that $5.99 that I have grandfathered in for Luna Plus, because even though Luna Plus right now's lineup really doesn't appeal to me, it's not going to stay that way. And to get access to that for $5.99, I can dig it. Shout out to Cody Maloney. Cody, I missed the $5. Thank you so much, my friend. I appreciate it. Thank you for the support. Let me see here before we close out. Oh, Aminor. They getting on Aminor. Yeah, now that's a good one too. Bip. Chorus, yeah. Because I'm gonna be honest with y'all. When I play Chorus, I get some artifacted on Stadia. When I'm playing the 1080p mode. So yeah, and Chorus is good on Luna. Yeah, I could dig that there. I could definitely dig that there. What else we got here? Ron Slusher says Boosteroid. Yeah, I would be interested in giving it a shot. It's not available for me. Colin said, would it be $34 a month? It's $200 for 6 months. No, it's $100. It's $100 for 6 months. Now, if I said 200, my bad. It's 100 for 6 months. 200 for the year. Dust says, I'm good for $5 for GFN. Same with Luna. I'm not stickler for performance, but I can't because I can't see it. I got you. GFN just, yeah. I got you. I can dig that. Yeah, I am like, when I looked at GFN's 3080 tier, you know, I'm cross-referencing it to the price. So I'm like, you're expecting me to pay 60% more. I want to see 60% better output on 60% of the games that I play. And when I started loading up the games that I play, it wasn't like that. I'm not going to sit there and pay for something because it looks better for the games that they play. I don't play what they play. I play what I play. And a lot of people play what I play. You know what I'm saying? And I feel like a lot of Stadia gamers that like kind of lean more towards the AAA stuff, they play what I play. Stadia understands that. That's why they have it on the platform. I am interested in games like Marvel, what was that? Guardians of the Galaxy and stuff like that. I wasn't like going crazy over it. Now, I definitely want to play Dying Light 2, but I can wait. I would love to play Dying Light 2, but not at 1440p. See, when y'all were doing, with y'all doing 1440p now, I was doing 1440p years ago. I was playing 1440p years ago when on Destiny 2, getting like 100, almost 200 frames per second. And I was like, and I told my homie Mansa Mua, he's a big Xbox guy, but he's a PC guy too. I said, Mansa, I can't dig this 1440p. It's too ashy for me. I like my 10-bit color gambit. I like that sharpness. I like that color popping. I get the textures, you know what I'm saying? I can bump up the textures. But I need that color to pop, man. I need that sharpness out there. So it's got to be a balance. I don't want low textures. I don't want, you know, and medium textures sometimes. I don't want that. I don't want that across the board either. But you got to be a balance. I got to have both the textures and the, you know what I'm saying? I got to have both the textures and the, and that resolution and that color. You know what I mean? So, all right. Geek the Sneaky says, for some reason, Luna, it chops when I play. I haven't had those issues with Stadia. That's interesting. I've never really had any issues with Luna. When I play it, it's just that the stream quality just wasn't as good. But being able to bump up on them Ubisoft games, being able to bump up the textures, that's cool, even though, you know, they can drop down to 15 frames per second, but I see the potential there. That potential is serious there. And when they open that bandwidth to include 4K, man, yo, it's gonna be some serious stuff. All right, with that said, I want to thank everybody for coming through. Thank you for enjoying, but thank you for sticking with me for over 3.5 hours with Sound Off. And if you're a member and you didn't catch Sound Off live, you can go catch Sound Off right now, because what I talked about in Sound Off that I didn't talk about here is I went more in depth with Luna. I read the press release on Luna, right? I talked about the devs that have come out in support of Stadia or shown interest in Stadia. And I went all in on the Steam Deck. Dustin the Red was there. Dust was probably ready to turn me off when I was talking about the Steam Deck, because what I had to say wasn't pretty. You know what I'm saying? But if you want to hear what I got to say, which is probably controversial to some people, that's why we got it over in Sound Off, so they don't lose their lunch over it. Go check me out over on Sound Off. That's member content. If you're not a member, just hit that join button below. And at any level, you can partake in that content. All right. We talked about QLOC and we talked about indie games today, and I appreciate all of y'all. Well, that's it. Thank y'all so much. Love you all. You are the best. And be ready for SSC podcast this Thursday. Okay, Thursday afternoon.